Hi there, everyone, and welcome to our little webinar on Appenate and AI. So a while ago, it was promised that we would definitely be looking into AI, but we would try and see if it would fit in with any use cases and actually benefit you guys out in the field. Well, not in the field, but in the office and designing your forms, and then a sneak peek into how it can benefit things out in the field. But this webinar today, I've got James and Danny that are going to be pretty much assisting me through the course of this chat. So if you have any questions or queries, put them in the chat, and then they'll get back to you. And also towards the end, we'll just have everyone can take their mics off mute, and then we can have a little chat and take it from there. So first things first, Appenate and AI. I'm not sure if you've all seen the blog, but basically there's two features that we've released where the first one is generating forms. So instead of having to jump into a new forms design and then pretty much add your fields, change your properties and things like that, add your pages, you can generate a form right from the start, whether you're using a text or audio prompt, voice prompt. You can pretty much do quite a lot, okay? But now just bear in mind that with AI, it's not a mind reader, so you need to be, let's say, as concise and as clear as possible. And let's say when you are adding on additional layers, put it into like a decent format or like a list of options that you want within your design. But I hope you've had maybe a bit of a test around with it, and let us know in your feedback in the chat. But yes, just quickly moving on. I don't want to end up droning along on just the screen right now. I actually want to jump into a couple of examples and just take it from there, and then just tweak a few things as we go. And then the next part is let's say, the conversational AI. Once you've got your forms designed, when you're designing it, now you can go ahead and actually get fancy, where customize certain fields. Let's say add formulas. Not just single fields, you can add multiple. You can globally change certain settings on everything. There's a lot there in store, and let's say jump in and go and test all of that out. So let's jump into the forms design, and I think, yeah, on the platform, when you're looking at your forms or screens, on the top right hand corner is the generate forms section. You just go ahead and smash that, and then this is where you can then enter in your prompts. So that kind of takes me to the first example. What kind of form should we create today? James, maybe if you can just help me out here, what's been the most common thing recently that you've received from clients lately?
Look, timesheets are always a good one. And so the things that we like to capture with a timesheet is obviously who's capturing the timesheet, the job that they're working on. Maybe they've got a client that they're working for, the hours that they worked on a particular day. Sometimes we'll have a 7-day worksheet. So it might be that we need to pop those into a table. We might need to capture the signature of a client and maybe the signature, the name of the client, some photos of what they did. So I think a timesheet's a really great place to start.
Okay, cool. So let's jump into that. So are we looking at, let's say, you mentioned there over a few couple of days. So let's look at like a weekly timesheet.
Weekly
And
timesheet would be
then,
great. Yep.
yep. And maybe with like, let's say, maybe throw in there a summary at the end, with
Yep.
like all hours worked throughout the course of the week. And then most
Yeah.
importantly, let's add in a signature and sign off area. So,
And look, the other thing that you might want to do as well is calculate the elapsed time for a particular day
yep.
as well.
Okay, weekly timesheet for.
Let's make it an inspection.
Yeah, so let's say I need a weekly timesheet for my plumbing company because I'm just adding in some extra detail there just to give the AI some context, because it is going to pull from its knowledge, where it can also add things in that you might not have thought to put in there. So I need a weekly timesheet for my plumbing company. Uh, it needs a.
So included in this, we've got 10 pits to excavate, um, and then we've got to drill. The line is covered underneath this.
Good.
After that, we go and
Oh, thank you. Okay, so it needs, let's say, it needs a. Okay, so just forgive my bad grammar in some places, but basically, yeah, I need a weekly timesheet for my plumbing company. It needs a time capture for each day, and then a summary at the end, and also add in a sign-off page with signatures. Okay, so this is just to get the ball rolling, pretty much lay down the groundwork, and then we can take it from there. So while this is
And
generating it, yeah, sorry, James.
I'll just point out as well that you can actually dictate that. So whilst we were typing that, it's also the sort of thing that you can actually click on the microphone there and just dictate the form into the thing. So it can actually be pretty free flowing.
Yep, know that it can. So I expect a few things to be done here. We're going to go through each and every single page, look at each field, and then we're going to take a step back and then start adding on some fields and customizing a few things. So here we go. It's generated the form. It's given me a nice screen title. We're plumbing weekly timesheet, which is pretty much spot on. And let's go have a look at the first part. Okay, so start the job. We've got a date only, and then we've got an employee name, which is doing a drop down. Okay, so automatically with this choices field here is that it's actually picking up on the active users data source. So any user that's actually been or added to the platform, we can already select it from there, and we get the email address. That's great. So then week starting, we can actually specify that. That's another date and time field. I just want to see what it's done here. Okay, so I'm not quite sure, but that's a good start. So the date, who it is, and then week starting for. And just bear in mind, the AI can make mistakes, but always verify and check the results just to make sure that everything is working. That first page seems fine. So let's go ahead and look at the second page. And then now we've got our daily work log, daily entries. Okay, so it seems like we have a table here where we can then, inside the table, select the day. It's already pre-populated a list of all of the different days. So we can select our day, job description. It's made it required. It's even added on 3 text lines there, which is great. So the user doesn't just have a single line just to capture and enter in there. We've got a start time, 12 hours, 5-minute intervals, end time, breaks. I just want to see anything else in there. Okay, that's the breaks, 0 default. And then have a look. This is probably where we're going to start jumping into some dynamic values. So total hours for the day. Okay, so let's have a look at this one here.
I wasn't sure if I was on mute or not, but I am muted.
okay.
Okay, perfect. No worries, Robert. Okay, so let's have a look at this date diff. So it's kind of done some of the right things. So let's just have a look. So we've got our date diff where it does the start time and end time, and then it's putting it into minutes with that specifier there. So that part is correct. We've got our date diff minus the breaks, which are in minutes, and then we're going to be dividing that by 60, which is going to give us our hours. So yeah, the only mistake here is that this is not how we do a division within the platform. We would actually need to go and do a div like that. But overall, that's pretty much spot on from what I can tell. So that's getting the difference for that particular day's work done, which is great. Just going to go ahead and apply and make that change there. And then it's also thrown in kilometers traveled. So by me giving it some of that context, hey, I'm a plumbing company, kind of putting myself in the shoes of that industry where they're going to be traveling out to a job site and then coming back and so forth. So this is something that we would want to take into account. And then it's added that there for us. I'd say I'm pretty impressed with that at the moment. I just want to see if it's customized the... Okay, so in terms of the table, hasn't customized the add new row button. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Add new, change that color, that's fine. And then one other thing I would do is I would just add in some custom navigation at the bottom here. Let's say, for example, just to jump back out of that table once we've drilled down into it, just by going to jump to form location. I don't want to spend too much time on the nitty gritty. So let's go to data entry pages there. And then also have the ability while we're in there, just to add another one. I just call these like, let's say quality of life little tweaks and changes. Instead of the user having to use the default navigation up at the top right hand corner of that form. So let's go ahead and add a new repeat row. And there we go. And most importantly, give it a decent data name. Okay, so page 1, not too bad. Page 2, pretty much this was critical in terms of capturing the timesheet for the day and getting the time difference. Pretty happy with that. Let's move on to the third page and see what else we have in store. So now we're going our weekly summary. So this should basically just be joining up all of the repeatable fields with inside that table. Let's go have a look on how it handles that. Okay, so effectively, yes, it is almost correct where we've got our sum. The only issue is that we need to put that date's name in enclosing double curly brackets there. But otherwise, yep, that'll give us our total there. Go ahead and apply that. And then we've got our employee signature, manager signature. We could add an additional button here to, let's say, upload the form. But everything seems okay. So I haven't made too many changes right from the start. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then, oh, fingers crossed, there are no errors. So basically from putting in some text, making a few tweaks and changes, this form could actually be used out in the field straight away. It gets the information that you need. Obviously, it's not ideal. It could be definitely tailored to your needs a bit further, but this could definitely save you some time. What do you think, James? Is there anything else you would add to this?
Yeah, look, I think one of the things that I struggled with, I'll just underscore how powerful that actually is. So one of the things that a lot of people with Appenate struggle with is just the understanding of how to put formulas together for it. So actually to have that date diff formula done in 1 second, hours of learning fixed right up front. It's really terrific. One of the things that I'd like to do here, Gavin, if we can have a look at maybe costing out this job. So let's say that we have an hourly cost for time traveled. Let's say $60. We charge $60 an hour for time. So we need to add in addition to the kilometers, I'd like to add a time traveled. And then an amount that we charge per hour for travel, and then the travel time and cost on the summary page.
Okay, so add in an hourly rate, multiply that by hours. Okay, so again here, coming to your prompt. Just hold on 1 second. I got a door that's banging. Thank you for that. So yes, let's jump into here now with our AI chatting in the form itself and just adding on a few changes. So let's have a look. Can I need an hourly rate? Add an hourly rate field. Okay, so just something to mention while I'm busy filling this out. It is conversational, so you can use like natural speech or talk. But if you are familiar with the platform and you know a bit of the terminology that we use, like data names, let's say dynamic value, validation, and things like that, you can also mention that in the prompt, and that definitely does streamline things along. So in this case, add on page 2, add in an hourly rate field. I think that's the first part of your query there, James. I'm just going to go ahead and smash that. And then
that'll do.
See what it does. So effectively what I'd like to see there are two new fields added, one where I can actually enter in my rate, and then the second field that then multiplies those two together. Yes. Okay, so basically on page 2, I might have... Okay. I'm wondering now if it's looking for page 2 and there is no page 2, so it's going to add a page 2 with the data name.
Yeah.
But yep.
And look, that sort of underscores, but that underscores the learning with this. I mean, you'll use it for a little while and you get to know exactly. It's just like speaking to a person, which is really nice. Like it's like literally having Gavin, maybe not to the fullest extent of Gavin's abilities, but certainly to actually sit down and have that conversation with the AI tool and have it actually build in the forms and get you to the point where it's like, okay, well, now I need to do some really advanced stuff, and that might be where the AI struggles.
Oh, yeah. Yes and no, I guess. Like I've actually been blown away by some of the stuff that it's done by testing it out with just, let's say, giving some autonomy to it, where you just throw and create a building inspection report, let it go and see what it does. Was very impressed with that, where not only did it add multiple pages, but let's say handle different areas to be checked, like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, juggled between interior, exterior. It added in quite a lot, as opposed to me going in and typing out each and every single kind of section that I wanted.
And I'll just, before you move on, I'll just underscore that I actually built an inspection form the other day, and it put custom validation in exactly where I hadn't even thought about putting custom validation in, and there was the custom validation.
Yeah, it's definitely going to surprise. But yeah, let's look at the example that we've put in here. And it didn't get confused by my page 2. It pretty much added the, where is that, an hourly rate, and then also put in a daily pay. So let's have a look at the hourly rates. Oh, it added on a numeric field there, so it didn't do text or anything like that. It knows what I need to do. Is it going to be, put it through to a decimal instead of an integer, and then it's 2 decimal places, which is perfect. And then look at the daily pay, which should multiply total hours multiplied by hourly rate, and that's spot on. So it is kind of doing it within the table. So we've got that there. Add a daily pay. Okay, so now I just want to kind of complete the circle here where we're getting our daily pay. Pay.
And I'll just let people know that please feel free to enter to type in your questions. We'll come back to those as we go along. We won't ignore your questions.
Okay, so what I'm just doing here is just kind of showing you, hey, we've added something. Now we're taking what we've added and adding onto that, pretty much building out exactly what we need, and then we can just confirm and verify our changes. And I'm just going to reiterate again, like the way you communicate with our AI, it's not as if like you're chatting to some of the other AI platforms out there where you're having a conversation and you're checking, hey, what the weather's like, summarize this for me, or give me a list of A, B, and C, and D for a particular industry. This is really honed into our platform and designing forms. So that's how you want to communicate with it, where you want to build forms. This is what you need. Add in this functionality, change some cosmetics along the way, and things like that. So yeah, so add a total week paid field, week summary field. This field is on a daily entry. Okay, so let's go have a look at the summary page. Where has that been added? Added a total weekly pay field to the weekly summary page. Okay, so I think it was a bit of a miss there, but yeah, just double check that unless I've missed something. Okay, so maybe I was too vague there. Added daily pay summary. Okay, so again, this is a great example of probably not how to prompt. So let's ask it again in a slightly different way. and then let's get that output. So add a daily summary, add a daily pay. What was that? Total. How could I answer? How could I query that quickly in a different way? So again, add a numeric field to the summary page. Daily pay.
I think it's also really important to point out that the beta badge there. So as this feature is currently in beta, it does mean that as we go along, we're learning from the prompts that are getting and what works and what doesn't, and we're continually improving this. So it is a beta feature at this point. It's available on the AU network. On all of the nodes. So if you're in the US, EU, or AU nodes, it's available there for you to try. It is in beta currently, so things like this might not work perfectly.
Yeah, so it seems to be having some difficulty there, but that's let's see. Nah. And I'm sure at this point you'd be tempted to go and say, hey, no, this is not correct. Yep, it's not really going to respond to that. So add a contact field. Just trying to think of a different way to prompt that to get that to work. Okay. Okay, so
Logan's suggesting, as I've seen before, just to save and come back in again, and sometimes it will kick it off again. It's good to see that some of you people have actually used the tool already.
Yep. Yeah, well, this will be the third little attempt at quickly. And just see what it does there. But yeah, just definitely want to move on to a few other things that already exist. No, it doesn't. Stop lying to me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, as that suggestion that was made there, just go ahead and save. And then what was that? Plumbing weekly timesheet. Let's jump in here. Okay, and then we can pretty much start chatting again. Okay, so from this point here, we've kind of just looked at adding on a few fields. We've looked at some formulas. Okay, it just seems to be pretty much stuck, unless it's added it somewhere where I can't see it. No. Okay, so yeah, not the best example there, but probably asking it in a different way, it might be just getting confused that there is a total inside the table, and then there's also this here on the outside. But just moving on to a few other things, like let's say adding in on some additional conditional logic for different field types, where we can make fields read-only, maybe required, throw in some validation in there. Does anyone have any suggestions on anything that you would like to see? Maybe there's something that you've been working on recently that you've had a bit of an issue with, and instead of having to kind of figure out the formula, you just like to apply it straight away to a field type. Any suggestions there in the chat?
End time should be later than the start time.
End time should be later than the start time. Okay, perfect. Yes. Okay, so where was that? End time. Okay. Yep. So essentially what we want to see here is that it's probably going to put in a validation where end time should be, I should have used probably greater or less than, not later. So again, bit of an exercise in how not to prompt in certain ways. But we do have some article at the end time, and the fieldwork table already has a validation in the place and shows. Oh, does it? Let's go have a look. Oh,
There you go.
it did too. Something that we missed. Okay, so I just want to see that formula. Date div, start time, end time, mi is greater than. Yep, that'll pretty much do. It'll do the same thing.
Yep.
It will do the same thing. You could just end up with the pretty much start time must be less than end time, and it'll handle that. Our platform will take the date and time into account and handle that for us. But yeah, one step ahead of us, where it added that in there for us already. I apologize, AI. Yeah.
That's right.
Forgive me.
Thanks, for that question, Marilette. Carlos has asked whether it can rename a number of fields en masse. So one of the things that obviously that is really important with these forms is these bulk updates to a form. So how would we do a bulk update, let's say to the color of all of the fields of maybe the hours or something like that?
Okay, so let's, off the top of my head, just something just to kind of flex that AI muscle there. Let's go ahead and change all the numeric field title background colors to, why not go to Appenate orange?
Why not?
Yeah.
See if it knows that color.
No, well, I'm going to slap in the hex there for it, you know. I'm going to throw it a bone.
Oh, make it easy.
Okay, you could also throw in some text like blue or teal, or let's go a variation canary yellow, something like that. And yep. So yeah, what else have we tapped into? We've done dynamic values. It can handle, I wonder, yeah, maybe a bit of a visibility where conditionally displaying certain things. That's also very, very possible.
There's also Mark C has asked whether the AI can handle a nested concat and if.
Okay. Tick green. Yeah, it should have handled that that hex there, but maybe it's not liking numeric, or it just needs number. But again, it is learning along the way, and no, it did not do that. Okay.
And look, in recognition of the fact that this is beta, sometimes what I find I need to do is to actually come right back out and back in again, and sometimes it'll kick back off.
Yep. Yeah. Instead of narrowing it down, let's throw in a global one there. I think it's just got a bit of stage fright because yeah, this was work. This is one of the first things I tested a while back, and it was
Of course.
great. Yeah, when you come
And look,
across.
it is actually really, if you have people who are vendor types or CP types, and if you're managing multiple forms across multiple environments, being able to make these global changes is really a very, very powerful thing. So there's been a couple of clients recently who needed to work with me to manage how to actually push a different set of colors to 10 different environments for 10 different forms, and it was just a really tedious task. And when this works, it actually is really, really nice.
No, it's just
And I've actually, yeah, and look, what I've been able to do, even if it doesn't work this time now, we have been able to give it a prompt that will change all of the table fields to a certain color and all of the section fields to a different color and so on.
Yeah, just typical, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that does work. It's even in our little, let's say, placeholder text over there. Yeah, change backgrounds to blue.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just go. One last little one.
And look, if this doesn't come clean, maybe someone can suggest a form and we can work through a form with you. Let me just go through these questions and let's maybe start clearing some of these questions as well.
Yep. Okay, so while that's busy working there, is there anything else that, besides changing colors? No, it just seems to be having a bit of a hiccup right now. Okay, all input choices fields have been updated to background color of, what is that? No. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead, hit save, and then just jump back in there again. Come back out. No, this is very odd. The first time when I was busy playing around, it didn't even have to do this. So yeah, maybe let's give it a break on the aesthetics. It's using its right side of its brain right now, not its left. So it's not in Da Vinci mode. Okay, so we've kind of seen a few changes there. I was particularly impressed with the automatically selecting the data source for the employee's name, and then also the choices field inside that table in terms of the day. So you can go ahead and add that. But let's say we wanted to add on another choices field with a different option. Let's say add an option for, let's say, night shift or day shift. Select. Where's that? Add a choices field to select day. Add choices field with 2 options. Add choices field with. Okay, so just trying to show a bit more functionality there, something a bit more dynamic. And yes, take it from there. So, yep. So far, if just to check, James, any of those questions, is there anything else in terms of adding things to the forms design that people would like to see?
Yeah, so Ravi mentioned that a weather field is very important. So the weather conditions for a particular inspection, and that of course is something that you can you can add, and you can give it a set of weather types, or in the same way it understands Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it would come up with its own set of weather conditions. You might want to have your own set, and you can actually put into the prompt whether or not you need to have that particular set, so you can have something that matches into your system. So the weather field is something that's perfectly able to be done. Carlos asked whether or not it can rename a bunch of fields in almost like a global search and replace, find and replace.
Yeah. We can give it a bash, but yeah, unfortunately, this also is just seeming to be a bit of a headache.
Maybe try creating a new form quickly, and sometimes that just does kick it off.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to come back here. Just going to go and add a brand new form. Let's just call it a test. Okay, so what was that first request there, James? About
a weather field. So the weather conditions currently.
Okay. Create a page to capture weather conditions. Let's say, what else? Weather conditions.
And maybe time of day.
So
twilight, dawn.
Okay. So even if you don't start off with the generate form right at the start, let's go ahead and just start off a blank form and just add in some fields there. So we've got our numeric field there for humidity, got cloud cover, and it's added some options on here, and then we've got our time of day. Okay, well, let's add some more options to the cloud cover field. What else could we potentially add there? Just to see where we've got some options added. Okay, so now add the following.
This is where the conversational icon there is really, really handy. So actually speaking to it is so much quicker than typing.
Partly clear, partly cloudy, overcast. No.
Rainy, stormy.
Okay, stormy, rainy, let's say what's overcast,
snowing,
gale force winds, what else? Say just throw it in there. You never know, huh? You never know what could happen.
Yeah, well, I think that might work.
Okay, so now that we've added on a field, we want to make some changes to it. Let's go ahead and have a look. Changed field color to weather condition. So there it is there. And then it's added on our options there. So stormy, rainy, well, it's changed them all. Stormy, rainy, gale force winds, and cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Okay. Anything else was there? I'm going to have another crack at this because I'm not changed the weather condition background to light blue. Yeah. Okay. I think. Oh, thank you. Okay. So yeah, I think at this stage, are there any other questions? Have I missed anything, James? Have any other
Yeah,
suggestions?
just
I hope we've.
I'm just working. Let me just answer. I'll read these questions out. So Mark C asked if it can handle nested concats and nested ifs.
Nested concats and nested ifs. That might be a bit of a tall order right now, but I'm just trying to think of a scenario where we could. Okay, so in this case, let's say we want to drive. If humidity is greater than. Add a section field that.
Okay. You should see, I'm in the AI, I'm in Appenate's
Yes. Humidity. What's that? Field. Did I? Oh, I spelled gale force winds wrong. Thanks, James. You didn't correct me there at all. I even ignored the. Okay, so. Okay, so add on a section field that only displays when humidity is greater than 40. Let's go have a look at that. So we've got our section field added, warning, even threw in that in there. Thank you. And let's go have a look at the condition. So humidity is greater than 40 and weather condition equals gale force winds. Okay. So again, what James mentioned earlier on about doing calculations and things like that when you first get exposed to the platform. And you're not too familiar with the Excel formulas that our platform's based off, you can just type that in and it'll go ahead and do that for you. At the same time, teach you how to do that, and then add on a if condition. So the nested if condition, if this is that, if. So showcasing that.
I think we can come back to Mark about that. I did try doing a nested if. It didn't work very well, but that was about a month ago, so I'm sure it's been improved since then. Let's just move through some of the other questions.
Yep.
Fire
away there, James.
Ingrid asked whether it can make global visual changes across different forms. So I think it's probably worthwhile speaking about what is included with the AI tool. So we have a number of different form types. So we have a list of data and details of data and those sorts of things, and they're not currently handled by the AI tool. So anything in the screens form won't be available to use for the AI. It also won't do any stringing together of fields, so of forms. So it really is at the moment focused on a single page form. And so Ingrid, that means that it's form by form, but also just generally the tool is a single form at this point.
Yep.
Kyla asked, is the AI capable of workflow creations if you reference data sets with criteria to look to? So I guess that's a little bit of a business workflow. So again, with the prompts that you give to the AI tool, if you can describe it in a way that the AI can understand, then you can actually do some pretty strong things. Maybe Gavin, how integrative have you found the tool with data sources and those sorts of things?
So let's say you've got your own data source, and you want to kind of connect that to that. Haven't really tested that out. It seems to know the platform data sources that we do have, as you saw with the active users that was used there. In terms of pre-populating choices fields, can add its own static list, but I'm just trying to think on anything. And yep, unfortunately, I haven't actually tested that out myself. But yep.
So I can answer that question in that case. I have actually tried populating a client list that's in a data source from a data source into a form, and it did actually work. So it did connect in a choices field to the data source, and it selected the name correctly, and it selected the email address as the value. So it will do those. And look, I think that sort of underscores the fact that these things are going to improve as we spend more time developing out the feature.
Okay. So I think from that point, I hope we've showcased a fair amount to kind of pretty much whet your appetite in terms of generating forms, and then also customizing a few things within that form using the conversational AI. We've had a few hits, a couple of misses at the moment, but as James mentioned, it is learning as we go along, and it is only going to get better as time goes by. So again, if a prompt doesn't work, try something else. We do have an article on how pretty much the best kind of how to prompt in terms of good prompts versus bad, with an example of a bad example, where you don't want to be too, let's say, verbose, too vague, and things like that, where excessive language, ideally lack of structure. This is something where you can provide it with a particular format of a list of, let's say, options or what you needed to change, and to try and keep it as essentially as concise and clear as possible, where you're telling the AI exactly what you would like, unless you're kind of just throwing in a rolling the dice and seeing what it can generate for you. But yep. So for good prompts, be specific in terms of adding on those like lists, where you could do 5 question items separated by commas, and then also a particular format, field 1, what type it is, the text it has, and then some of the options. Get creative, as long as it's in a format that's consistent. The AI will generally understand that a lot better than just typing out a couple of unstructured sentences that never end. So yeah, it isn't beta, it's going to get better, but currently where it stands right now, I'm pretty impressed. And you can definitely see this as your own personal Appenate assistant. So before even contacting our support team, put together, test out a few queries in AI, get something built, and then if you need to, contact us or book a session, and we can fine-tune things with you. But where I see this going is that I might not be chatting to you guys as often as what I used to, because it's definitely going to be a helpful hand. Are there any other questions or queries? Anything else that anyone would like to talk about?
There are actually quite a few questions in the chat, and what I'm just doing currently is taking a copy of all of those. And I don't think we're going to have enough time to answer all of them. So what I'm going to try and do is match up questions to what's in the chat there. If we don't get back to you with answers to that, my email address is james@appenate.com. please feel free to send me an email and ask any questions that you have, and we'll make sure that you get those answers.
Yeah. Oh, particularly, the one that caught my eye. There were quite a few intense ones regarding the generating connectors with runtime conditions, moving certain recipients. That's a pretty interesting one. And then Mark with can the AI rebuild a form based on an existing one and fix anything that's potentially wrong? Let's see. Yeah, these are all interesting queries, worth a try. I don't want to sit here and go and test each and every single thing out. The reason for this webinar was just to kind of showcase, hey, this is what's available to you. This is what you can do. The best way to kind of prompt with things. And then, if you're not successful on the first try again. It's all about kind of a lot of it reminds me of that, what is that, iRobot kind of movie where you've got to ask it the right questions. In this case, give it the right prompts and you'll get what you generally get what you need. So, yep, we'll take those answers, questions down and then get back to you. Is there anything we can quickly answer, James, before we just move on? Because we've got a few more minutes left and there's a few other things I'd like to just run through.
Yeah, look, I think maybe we should just run onto those because we're bumping up against 8 minutes till the end of the session. There are a lot of really interesting questions in here, and I think once we start answering them, we're going to run out of time.
Yep. Okay. So what we could do is that maybe in the email that gets notified of that the recording is live. Some of the questions I'll maybe have answers to those in that email blast, just to kind of cover not just this webinar, but the other one that Annie's doing, or that Annie's done, and just to provide the feedback that way. But yep.
There was an interesting question from Raoul about the cost of the AI tool.
Okay, great, perfect. Yeah, because we're definitely moving onto those kind of topics right now. So the next bit of points that we're going to touch on are the kind of what's coming up next in terms of the new features and new products that Appenate has in store. So pretty much to answer that one question regarding the cost to our current subscription, regarding the use of AI. So we will be releasing a new user type, and basically this will be called a pro user type, and essentially it's combining the premium user and the AI functionality together. That will give you unlimited access to all of that. But for users that aren't on that, so let's say the standard and premium users, they will still have a few, let's say, uses throughout the course of a month, but it won't be unlimited. In terms of any other specific details, in terms of the cost and the let's say the usage for non-pro users, that information is still to come. But what is that looking at the back end chat? Okay, so I hope that answers that question. Look out for a new user type, Pro. This particular product or feature and the others I'm going to mention now will be rolling out over the course of the next couple of weeks, and this will be available on our beta node at first before it gets rolled out to all the other nodes and live. And yeah, if you want access to our beta node, just let us know, send an email, contact us through support saying, hey, I'd like access to that, and then we will set that up for you. So you can get a bit of a sneak peek and preview of these features. But bear in mind, they are in beta, so there might be some issues along the way, but we'll work through them and get them into tip-top shape before they go live. So I hope that answers that. And then just quickly, what is AI looking at back in ChatGPT also? AI looking at back. Okay, so yeah, all of that information is isolated. It's not shared across the different searches. If that answers that question, if I understand it correctly. And yeah, we are using Gemini for this. So yes, Okay, might have to get back to Neil Thompson on that question there. But yeah, we've got 5 minutes left. So just to quickly run through some of the new features that are coming that are going to make things easier to capture data out in the apps, and then also adding some additional customization. I don't have anything to share with you on the screen, but just to mention that there is going to be a new column layout available. So for your field types, as you can see here now, we kind of stack these fields vertically. You can then now add on a separate field where you can then stack fields side by side with a maximum of 2 side by side, if I'm not mistaken. And you can basically make a nice grid of 2x4, 2x6, 2x8. So you have a couple of fields out in the or displaying in the app that, depending on, you don't need that whole screen length to enter in data, where in this case humidity and weather condition could be side by side, and the user could quickly select those two and then move on to the next row. Okay, I'll just leave those questions for now. So yeah, stacking a field side by side with the column layout, that's something that's coming out soon. That is looking quite nice. I think it's been asked for a while back. So looking forward to that. And also a hands-free control. So basically kind of envision where your users are out in the field, they've opened the form, they're looking at a particular page, and they would, in the past, have to go and select a particular field to then capture that particular bit of data, whether it's text, numeric, or a list of choices. Now you're going to have about, say, there's going to be an option to select and talk for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then the form will automatically get filled out for you based on a natural kind of summary of what you're currently doing. So you're walking around a job site, you're saying A, B, and C, and D, and the form will automatically pre-populate data within those fields as best as possible. So yeah, a nice little hands-free tool coming our way there, especially maybe when users are busy driving from site. Instead of having to stand there and fill it out, they could be driving and then just talking into the form. Okay, well, disclaimer, don't use your mobile phone while driving though. Okay, just a scenario, guys. And then also the next one, again on the customization. So in the past, we were able to customize the colors of action fields and a few field types, let's say navigational buttons and colors here. But we were a bit limited on, let's say, what was it? First up would be a location field. Where you couldn't really customize that get GPS color as a location field. And then what else? There's another field here. For the life of me, James, throw me a lifeline.
I don't have that lifeline here. I'm sorry, Gavin.
Okay, so like get your GPS. You could customize that. What else? Change buttons icon. Yep. So anywhere where you couldn't change the button color before, get GPS. There was another one somewhere else. Media field. There we go. So the choose and capture on the media field, you can now customize you'll be able to customize those colors. I think in the past they were just like the capture was a default orange, choose maybe a bit of a blue. But yeah, just like the action field, you can now customize those colors that are coming out, not just within the form itself, but also on the in different areas specifically for branded apps. On like the app setup page or the branding center, and some of those buttons that you didn't have access to before, you can customize. So really tailoring your app specifically to your organization's color themes and things like that. So yeah, along with AI, building your forms easier, I think it's definitely going to help a lot of new users. And definitely change one color of interest, not just the background. Okay. So I got distracted there, my bad. Focusing back on the features. Sorry, I was reading the questions.
And you've missed one big one there, Gavin. Dashboarding.
We're still getting there. That's new products, James, but thanks for reminding me, keeping me on track there. So yeah, we've looked at AI, generating forms. It is making changes with conversational AI on the forms design. We've looked at the new features that are coming out in terms of custom layouts, hands-free filling out of pages, and then also customizing all the buttons that we didn't have access to before. And then some of the new products. Okay, this is where things have been changing in the background of Appenate quite a bit. We've been hearing you guys, things that you're going to be wanting, things that are going to streamline or just make integrations and data visualization a lot better within the Appenate environment. Where the first product that we're going to be pulling out, be releasing is we're going to be we've called it codenamed Sync, which is the equivalent of Zapier, but Appenate's version of Zapier, basically, where you can integrate with external systems, create webhooks, push data out, and hopefully make integrating with the third-party systems out there a lot simpler and easier, wherever that data might reside, coupled with our existing connections and form and data source connectors. And then the bigger one, which has definitely been on the tip of everyone's tongue for couple of months now, is codenamed Distill, which is dashboarding. So where you can visualize your data, where you're looking at, let's say, any of the platform data sources that could have information on there that you could visualize in various types of charts, or any of the, let's say, reference or let's say transactional data that you're populating with data sources that could then pretty much display in charts and things like that. I'm not going to mention anything else about that because that's still under works right now, and what I do know could potentially change. But essentially, just any data that's within Appenate, putting that into a visual format, and then allow for reports and images to be generated from that. I think on that note, just to reiterate that our AI functionality is in beta. In terms of your prompts, keep them as clear as possible. Try and apply a format or present what you need in a list kind of structure. And just remember, the AI isn't a mind reader, so the more information you give it, the better. And if one way doesn't work, just fine-tune your prompts. And most importantly, let us know your feedback so we can always improve things as you go along.